But there will be videos of American families wearing MAGA hats on the beaches of Mexico.
It doesn't even have to be a prediction because it literally has already happened to me with my own family. So last 4th of July, my family had a trip planned to Mexico for the week of the 4th of July. And I got a phone call about a month before from my dad, which we've already had a weird relationship because of everything going on in the world. And my family is deep on the Trump train. And he called me to ask if me and my boyfriend would want Trump cups that my family was bringing with them to Mexico. And at the time, I was so thrown off the fact that I was getting asked that and how the cognitive dissonance was just not. And it sucked because we already paid for our vacation. And I was freaking out because I did not want to be seen with that. So the night before that we went on our trip, I called my dad and told them that it was extremely racist to be bringing those cups to Mexico, and I needed to let them know because I just couldn't believe that. Mind you, I was going with 20-ish family members, so I was just thinking about me being there, surrounded with that, and people there seeing us surrounded with those things in a country where this man is telling people from our country to go back to. Anyways, we got into a giant fight. They told me that I was in a cult and to not come on the vacation. They were screaming at us. It was a whole thing. Biggest thing that we've ever gotten into. And we still went on the trip, obviously, because we were leaving the next day at 5 a.m. and I was not losing $2,000. And then when we were on our trip, they acted like nothing happened. We tried to keep the peace, obviously, because we were on a trip of our own. Saving grace was on the 4th of July. There was a hurricane, so all alcohol was shut off on the island, which was low-key hilarious. And then I will just say at part of the trip, my dad did ask a black guy if he could swim. And now I do not talk to any of my family members. So
breaking news. 2 MAGAs get fact-checked by the produce manager. This is great. This just happened just about 20 minutes ago. I was shopping in a grocery store here in the Fort Lauderdale area that's well known for its fresh produce. And as I was shopping for my items, I saw these 2 MAGAs. There were 2 guys in their 50s. Wearing their MAGA hats. And they were all crowing about how Trump was going to make America great again and how Trump was going to bring down prices and cut inflation and all these type things. But then they were complaining in the store about the prices of the fresh produce. And so I guess one of the managers of the fresh produce manager, somebody walked by. And so one of the MAGAs says to the manager in the store that they can't wait until January 20th when Trump is going to lower the prices on goods because he all of a sudden becomes president. They think he magically can do this, just like Biden was the one who caused all the prices to go up just because he happened to be president. Complete untrue, but that's another story. And so the guy kind of looked at him and said, sir, what do you mean? And he said, I don't believe that's going to be correct. And the produce manager says something back. He says, you do know that Trump has proposed to increase tariffs on Mexico by 25%. And many of our fresh vegetables and fruits all come from Mexico. You're going to be paying higher prices, sir, under this tariff proposed by Trump if it goes through. Their prices won't go down because, and the guy goes, what? He said, Mexico's not going to pay for it. He says, no, sir, you're going to pay for it. We're going to pass those prices on to you because our importer is going to pass those prices on to us. You're going to pay more. And the two just looked at each other like they were in shock. These people are complete idiots. I mean, they are operating with burned out light bulbs. Love to hear from everybody. Love to hear from your thoughts. Love to hear from my Democrats and my MAGAs, my crazies and my cuckoos. Y'all are definitely not going to get what you thought you voted for. And lower prices, if these tariffs go through, oh, you're dreaming. You're dreaming. Keep smoking whatever you're smoking. Not going to be true. And I'm sure you'll try to find a way to blame it on Biden, even though all the problems that we had under inflation under Biden all came from Trump under his collapsed economy, 15% unemployment because of the COVID pandemic and because of the pipeline shutdown, all because of Trump's poor handling of things. But you all can't connect the dots. Love it, love it, love it. You're going to love these prices if these tariffs go through. Thank you, Trump. Nothing like having an orange Jesus around.
Before y'all go out here and take y'all little vacations out in these Mexican waters and Caribbean waters and European waters or wherever little waters and oceans y'all finna go to, I just want y'all to know y'all better be real careful, because if y'all boat flip over, what if the little Coast Guard people tell you, you know what, we don't want none of y'all because we don't want no foreign people in our land, build a border. Like, you know how crazy that sound? You a human being out here about to pass away, right? And you have no one to rescue you. And then you have someone that they're just like, nope, I don't like the way you look. That's pretty much what America is doing to all of these immigrants, basically. Like, these people is really running away from bad stuff in their own homes, right? And you guys are like, oh, why don't they just stay there and fix it? How are they going to stay there and fight against the cartel? I want you to try to fight against the cartel. I want you to try to fight against two people trying to come jump you. You can't. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they're just like, you know what, let me get my kids and move on to somewhere better or whatever, right? Then they're going to come over here and take our jobs. So you mean to tell me someone's fleeing their country for a better lifestyle for them and their family, they're going to come get a job, and that's a terrible thing? That's criminal? Like, I'm just so confused, bruh. If anything, it shows me that they have will and grit and resistance. This is exactly what we need in America. These are Americans. That's American values. If you ask me, these people is willing to do whatever, bro. They're going to take a boat to get here. They're going to make tunnels to get here, bro. That is very American to me, bro. That means you ain't going to stop at nothing, bro. That's American to me. I think they cool with me. Bro, they cool with me? They cool with you?
Are you a MAGA follower? Please do not come to Mexico. Do not come to Cancun. Do not come to Puerto Vallarta or Acapulco. Stay in the United States. Eat your Taco Bells. Eat your burritos. Eat your whatever you got back home. In Mexico, we already know that MAGA people hate Mexicans. We already know that you support Donald Trump, who is a really bad guy for Mexicans. They are putting our people in prisons. They are attacking our people. They are disappearing little children, separating families. We don't like MAGA people here in Mexico. And if you come, please do not bring your orange hat saying MAGA. Do not come with your shirt saying MAGA, because I've seen cases where MAGAs have been attacked by Mexicans in Cancun. At least they get knocked on their head, or at least they insult them, and we are right. We know you hate us in the United States, so why are you going to come to Cancun with your offending us with your MAGA shirts or hats? Stay in the United States, you're better there. Why do you come to Cancun? Why do you come to Mexico? If you don't like us, stay there.
Pete Hegseth was Secretary of Defense. Pete Hegseth was on Fox News this morning, basically saying that strikes against Mexico are on the table.
They're terrorist organizations. And if you find that, and we know if there's Al Qaeda, we're going to hit them. I don't care if you're in Somalia, Sudan, or in Syria. If we find that they continue to fire at our border patrol and they continue to put fentanyl into our country, as the Secretary of Defense, are you permitted now to go after them in Mexico or wherever they are?
Brian, I don't want to get ahead of the president, and I won't. But that's ultimately going to be his decision. But let me be clear, all options will be on the table. If we're dealing with what are designated to be foreign terrorist organizations who are specifically targeting Americans on our border, and we're finally securing our border. We've been securing other people's border for a very long time. The military is shifting toward an understanding of homeland defense on our sovereign territorial border. That is something we will do and do robust.
They've been talking about war with Mexico for a long time, but I know a lot of people voted for Trump because he claimed to be the peace president, that he was going to bring peace back to the world, which, like, I don't know what level of delusion you had to be to believe that, but that's not what's happening. Instead, we're getting a tariff war on all of our allies that starts this weekend, by the way, so a lot of things come from Mexico and Canada, so you might want to go grocery shopping today, because shit is about to get expensive. We also just get mass firing of all federal workers whose jobs are to keep us safe. We've got planes crashing into military helicopters for the first time in a freaking generation. And we've got DEI hires in the administration with no experience in leading, running around acting like a bunch of toddlers in charge of the United States. We've got purges of federal employees. We've got investigations against PBS and NPR. We've got tech billionaires settling for millions, $25 million. Meta just paid Trump to settle a lawsuit because they took him off the platform after January 6th. We've got January 6th insurrectionists running around on the street getting rearrested for being pedophiles. And yesterday, I saw the gas near my house was almost at $4. So that's super cool. And eggs are almost impossible to find because of bird flu, and Trump has directed the CDC to not talk about it, and we are not involved in the WHO anymore. So when bird flu goes full pandemic, we're all going to suffer. But Trump will just say it was Biden and DEI chickens that did it. I guess we made it through 2 weeks of Trump's presidency. Well, not all Americans made it through, but how many more will we lose next week due to Trump's DEI hires and incompetence at the very tippy top?
So the president of Mexico has sent in Mexican firefighters to assist with the rescue efforts of the flood victims of Central Texas. After all the hate, after all the disgusting things that this government has been doing to Mexicans with the ICE deportations and alligator Alcatraz and all of these horrible things that they're doing, Mexico is showing humanity. Wow. Why can't people just sit down and talk without the greed? Shout out to Madam President, Madam Señorita Presidente. Thank you for showing some type of humanity, because Trump administration don't have a lick of humanity in their bones unless you're rich. Oh, and white.
So Mexico's president has officially made a statement and essentially made it clear that she is not in support of these mass deportations. As a matter of fact, she believes that those who fled her country in order to break into the United States have the right to stay here. Let's unpack that for a second. So the president of the country that people are leaving in droves in order to break into another country believes that she has the right to speak on the invasions that we have to deal with. These are her people, mind you, right? And so if Mexico is such a great country, if you believe that you are creating a Mexico that people would want to live in, why would you endorse or essentially support your people in leaving your country and breaking into another?
So yesterday I posted a video about how illegals are waving their flags during protests. I never specified exactly what flag, but people are going off about Mexico specifically and saying that this is their land and that it was stolen from them. First of all, the stolen land was not only paid for, but the United States ate up over $3 million worth of debt that Mexico owed to them. So the United States doesn't owe you anything, and I'm not going to be ignorant like you and say, oh, well, technically you guys owe us because the debt was settled, so we move on. Second of all, the Mexico was stolen, immigrants made this country excuse is played out. Let's be honest, if you had to go back to the times where the land was yours, not only would you owe the US, but with all the technologies and privileges that you have now, you wouldn't be able to survive, regardless if you live in the US or Mexico. And you would be complaining a hell of a lot more than you do now. Third of all, laws are laws. There are laws protecting you, whether you're documented or not, from people walking into your house and kicking you out. Because laws establish order. If those laws didn't exist, you would be pretty upset if somebody walked into your house and kicked you out and you couldn't do anything about it. You do not get to pick and choose what laws you want to follow while taking all the benefits of a country that is not yours in 2025. That's it. Good talk.
It's crazy how the people that hate America refuse to leave it.
The same people that want to defund the police will be the first ones to call the police when they're in danger. The same ones that shout freedom of speech, but yet cancel you if you have freedom of speech. Want everybody to accept them, but won't accept you. They demand your respect for their choices, but they do not want to respect our choices. They want to show love to every race other than white people. People who believe a bald eagle's egg is more important than a child in the womb. People who are against reading the Bible at school, but are not against having drag queens come and teach our kids a lesson. Will burn the American flag every chance that they get, but will refuse to go to another country because they hate this one so much. Who are willing to put every other nation first while we're last. Who will blindly follow left-wing media outlets rather than hearing both sides of it and then making a decision for themselves. Maybe it is time for people to visit other countries. Maybe it is time for you to maybe live in Mexico for a little bit. Maybe it is important for you to maybe move to Iran for a couple of months, or Iraq, or move to places that you're so willing to defend because it's so horrible here in the United States. That's one of the reasons why we are one of the most trafficked nations in the world, with almost every single nation with a nationality within our borders. But hey, I guess America sucks. So let's live in it. But let me know what you think in the comments section. Don't forget to hit that follow button for your daily updates.
All I gotta say is, if you're American, very pale American, I hope you don't have plans for spring break in Mexico, because there's a lot of people that are mad right now. And among other things, you wouldn't want them spitting in your food. Or your drink. At those all-inclusives in Cancun.
Repeat after me. When you elect psychopaths, people die. 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 When you elect psychopaths to own the lives, children float down the river.
I've been in Mexico for a week. This is like my 7th time in Mexico, and we come to Cancun, which is like going to Orlando, right? Everyone in our resort is Mexican, but everyone speaks English, and it's like resort after resort after resort. And our resort is across the street from a mall that has like a Tiffany and a Tory Burch and a Prada. So it's not like super authentic Mexico. But while I'm here, you can kind of tell who's who among the Americans, and I'm surrounded by white people here. And I will say that I have not seen a MAGA hat. I did not see a MAGA hat in the Albany airport, the Baltimore airport. I have not seen a MAGA hat here. Thank God. But you kind of can tell, right? Who's who. There's just a vibe. There's an aura. There's an air about some people. And I just find it super ballsy for people who voted for fascist, Fanta, whatever. I find it interesting that people will cast their vote for that and that ideology, and then like come here to eat guacamole and drink margaritas and buy cheap silver. Like all of a sudden they're not scared anymore. They're not worried about rapists and murderers. Like, make it make sense.
If you ever wonder how the mustache man got away with all of the things that he did, just take a look at Donald Trump today.
So there's a white woman's video who's gone viral talking about going to Mexico to get dental work.
So I just got the quote from the dentist in Mexico I've been looking to go see because, no offense to my current dentist in the United States, I love him. He does a really great job. And I wish I could go to him. I just can't afford dental care in the United States.
And while there were a ton of comments and people talking about the medical care system and kikiing with her in the comments, my spidey senses told me to dig a little deeper. And here's what I found.
What a beautiful morning. So grateful that Trump got in office. Life is going to be so much easier again.
Question. If it's so much easier, why can't you go to the dentist? Hold that thought.
And yes, I'm a woman for Trump. Guess what? There's like way more people in America that wanted Trump yesterday, so I don't even look like a piece of shit anymore. Thank you to the 70-something million people that voted for Trump yesterday. You just validated all of my videos where people shat on me in my comments because I'm a woman voting for Trump. Thank you for that. So yeah, we're gonna have a party later, and I told you so.
What is so interesting to me is there are so many people like her that uphold the values of anti-immigration, yet go with their teeth fixed. I hope you get stopped at the border. Root canal these, huh?
So Mexico is refusing to allow U.S. planes to drop off undocumented migrants back in Mexico. And apparently Donald Trump is having a meltdown about it right now. Remember during the campaign when all of MAGA was talking about how Kamala Harris can't talk to world leaders, she's going to get bullied around. Mexico's not bending over for him. Canada's threatening to cut off power supply to the United States. Denmark told Donald Trump to F off. The Greenland citizens can't stand Donald Trump. You know those wars that he promised to end on day one? They're still going on, and Russian media and Vladimir Putin have both laughed at Donald Trump. I mean, the entire world is laughing at him and us because we elected this dumbass to run our country. Great job.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.